Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. So for this video, I figured I would talk about yet another of these adventure type movies because, well, might as well I guess. So here we are. So let's just get to the point, shall we? And that's what I do on this channel, talk about movies and such anyway, so here we are. And yes, obviously this is again another, well, I'll just tell you the name of the movie. Pippi in the South Seas. So again, and again, another Pippi Longstocking type video. So yeah, and I've been making quite a few of these videos as of late anyway, so I just thought, it's not gonna hard to talk about at least one more before I give this franchise, I guess, a small rest. If I return to it whenever I have the chance, I guess. Anyway, of course, as always, let's talk about the plot, shall we? So I guess if anything, this is a rescue mission type of a film. I guess that's what ultimate this was is really because Pippi she ends up receiving this message from her father, of course, and yeah, he's in a pretty bad situation. He's out in seas, and that's the thing though. I mean, that in itself isn't really the problem because he's out in seas anyway. And I mean, so would Pippi Longstock would have her own adventures as well, of course. And that's the thing, though. She got accustomed to that kind of a life, of course. But anyway, she does have a friends, like you might expect. She has these two friends who come along with her. So yes, she has them join up on a adventure. So she has to go out and see and just take her two friends along with her. So these the trio, I guess you would say, the three friends have to go out and do their rescue mission pretty much. Because unfortunately, yes, I was saying, Pippi Longstocking's father has stumbled across a very terrible situation due to the fact that he was kidnapped by pirates and he found a way to inform his daughter about this. So obviously, she wants to help him out. She wants to make sure that he returns home safely. Well, I mean, okay, not really home per se, but you get what I'm trying to say here. It's just that she adventures out to the South Pacific Sea with her friends on this rescue mission, who unfortunately was captured by this ruthless pirates. These ruthless pirates, of course, are up to no good, and they have to be stopped. Obviously, they need to be stopped, of course. And that's pretty much what this film is about, ultimately. So there's that. It's very adventurous, and it does have that adventurous feel to it, which of course I do like. Yes, obviously I do realize that this film is very low budget, and it doesn't have the fancy special effects and whatnot. And you're gonna obviously tell a lot of this is practical effects when you think about it, which in itself isn't necessarily a complaint by any means. I know that will be an issue for some people because they want this film to use CGI and all that. But ultimately speaking, as for myself, I personally didn't mind it really because I guess I got accustomed to practical effects anyway. Because, well, for one, I would favor those of the CGI stuff. But anyway, you do have to keep in mind that this is an old movie, of course. They're not going to have several things, okay, a lot of things that people take for granted in this day and age. I mean, yes, CGI in itself doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing once used properly. Yes, I know in a lot of cases that CGI does have a bad reputation, and in some cases that it's warrant, I guess. But still, I do prefer the old style filmmaking and whatnot, like is done here. It might look, I guess, dated in some ways in terms of special effects, but still, though, I do like how they, okay, when I say they, I mean the people who worked in this film, how they were trying to attempt to achieve certain scenery throughout the entire film because they had to work around in a practical sense, of course. But yes, what I'm trying to say is that I do miss this kind of filmmaking. And yes, it seems rather strange that I would prefer this, but you do have to keep in mind that I was around for quite some time. Let's put it that way. I was around for way more than 100 years, to say that. But anyway, yes, of course, there are this whole flying scene thing. I mean, okay, it's not the most special, like CGI thing ever. Okay, but still, I liked it. I liked the movie, I suppose. I did like this one a bit more than the previous two live action films I reviewed. It was Paper Longstalking, and so this is in a series of four, I believe. I guess you can say. But the other movie I need to talk about of the series, I guess I'll get to it when I get to it, really. But anyway, point being is that I did end up liking this one more than the previous two because it does feel like it has a more of a coherent story. It doesn't feel disjointed or anything like that. But still, I mean, yes, this storyline for this film is fairly straightforward, which in itself doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, really. But the way they constructed here, it just felt more like it was constructed better when it comes to the overall narrative, of course. Yes, obviously, like usual, Paper Lost Target is super strong. There's even one scene where she uses her breath to blow people away across the room. And okay, she has some powerful lungs. I'll give her that, that's for sure. And you can obviously tell that Paper Longstocking is very loyal to a, I guess maybe to a fault in some ways. But of course, she means well. She definitely means well because obviously she deeply cares for her father. And it's nice to see that her friends will come along on the trip, quite obviously. And of course, the little monkey also does come along, of course. So there was that, obviously. But anyway, I'm gonna say that this wasn't too shabby for what they were trying to do. I did like what they were trying to aim for. I like the story, I like the soundtrack, of course. The soundtrack wasn't too shabby, of course. And yes, I realized that this film may be very nostalgic for a lot of people because a lot of these people grew up with with this film when they were younger. Ugh, nostalgia. It was that word again. I do not like nostalgia. I mean, yes, I like old movies, and yes, 9 times out of 10, I will prefer an old movie. But just the whole thing with nostalgia, it has a really negative thing around this place. Just throwing it out there. But my point being is that I didn't grow up with this film, okay? I did not grow up with this movie. I mean, yes, I've been watching Pippi Longstocking with these adaptations of the book series for quite some time, for a long while actually. But that doesn't necessarily mean I grew up with the character. I didn't grow up with any of these adaptations of the character. So yes, when I started watching Pippi Longstocking, it was a lot later in life than typical, I reckon. Just throwing it out there. So and again, I did watch the English dubbed version, and thankfully the English dubbed version is way more bearable. The dubbing, so I mean, it's something you can still tell. I'm just saying. Anyway, not too shabby of a movie, really. At least the dubbing's better, and it's a better story, so that's something. So I'll give it an overall rating of a 7.0 10. It gets a 7.0 10 for me. So of course, as always, thanks for watching and take care. See ya. Oh yeah, later.